The Federal Reserve is set to turn XRP holders into filthy rich, and I'll show you why in today's video. I think the money supply will rise shortly, which is great news for stocks because, as we all know, when the money supply rises, stock prices soar. However, there are a lot of other wild things happening, including trade conflicts. Yes, there is an increase in the number of disingenuous news outlets, but there are also legitimate ones. News sources, or at least those that some people hold in high esteem, are spreading rumors that are quickly debunked. The trade war with China and other related topics will be covered by Trump since they are all relevant to the current events. However, before we wrap up, we will have a portion that addresses the Federal Reserve. And in this speech, I will discuss the ongoing political struggle between the Federal Reserve and President Trump, as well as my predictions for the near future. Allow me to begin by playing a statement made by Trump yesterday. Next, we'll talk about China's actions. Trump says they talk to China daily, which makes logical. Massive taxes will have an impact. Substantial effect on both parties. Tariffs aren't free. They'll always have an effect, and that effect will never be fair to anyone in particular. The trade war is clearly going berserk as China has responded to Trump's declaration that we're talking to China. However, the U.S. has made it clear that they would keep taxing China unless China backs down from its threats. No trade conversations have taken place between the U.S. and China, according to China's daily assertions. I don't know what to believe anymore. This kind of news is always false. Another way of putting it is that Trump may be right and his staff may be wrong, even though he isn't explicitly addressing China. I don't know what you all think about this because it's a big political topic right now. Simply said, unless Trump and his administration are certain about not modifying the tariffs in any manner, I fail to perceive any rationale for them to refrain from communicating with China whatsoever. It could be a strategy if maintaining tariffs is their main goal. The problem is, as always, that some people are claiming things that aren't happening. Well, we tried to talk to China, but they didn't want to do anything, so we're going to keep the taxes in place, even though they haven't said anything they can say, even if it sounds like they are speaking with China. China now seems to be taking a new approach, claiming that they are being pressured by the U.S. And in essence, this indicates that these Chinese levies will be maintained for some time, maybe even a few years, if China is being forthright. If this turns out to be accurate, international trade will be drastically altered, and China will start conducting more business with other countries as a result. Make things that other countries want. The next step is for certain countries to increase their trade with China. Whatever happens, I find this situation utterly intriguing and can't wait to find out the outcome. While discussing this with China, Trump adds that duties on Canada may rise by 25%. Nevertheless, these levies would be dwarfed by after the Canadians retaliate. His goal may be to target a particular Canadian corporation, though I don't know for sure. Again, we'll have to wait and watch how this turns out. But I believe Trump has altered his mind, and the markets are going to be very nervous about this. He maintains the possibility that the existing tariffs of 100% and 45% on China could be increased. After Monday's encouraging trade discussions, he suddenly said, okay, we're still trying to talk about it, but we're going to raise some tariffs on some people. This is a totally different message from what he said on Monday. Furthermore, it is certain that President Trump will not change the tariffs on vehicles and auto components. Got it. Just one more. False information. Everything I mentioned yesterday had a credible source. A journalistic organization with almost 20 years of experience reported that Trump would reduce tariffs on auto parts, but Trump has denied the report. Something similar occurred earlier this month when Trump slashed taxes, and it's still on my mind. It's completely strange. Unfortunately, with the prevalence of disingenuous news reports, it is impossible to tell for sure. It is getting harder and harder to tell the difference between true and fake news these days. I'm sorry about that. Someone in the news organization, for instance, is leaking confidential material about Trump that he would want remain hidden. He says they aren't thinking about it, but he might go ahead and do it anyhow. Point that even Trump can be deceived into changing his mind, so it's impossible to tell for sure. It's a chaotic moment, but I think we'll figure it out in a week or so, just like we did when this phony thing happened before. He wants other countries to keep certain elements about their strategy under wraps. Therefore, this has happened multiple times so far. It happened 3 days later. Following the publication of the news item, Trump altered his stance multiple times. I believe it was totally unexpected because there have been rumors that major corporations are buying up cryptocurrencies, leading Fidelity and others to claim that this means there is less Bitcoin available on exchanges. Crucially, its supply is dwindling due to its immense popularity as a cryptocurrency. The impending release of XRP ETFs and the increasing acquisition of cryptocurrencies by publicly traded corporations lead me to anticipate that the XRP supply shock will hit its peak before the year ends in Q3 or Q4 2025. A few months from now, operations will also commence with the Hidden Road Alliance, and a substantial predicted dramatic increase in the price of XRP shares due to an unexpected event. Even though there is a lot of cash on hand, there will be a sudden spike in supply. Just a quick aside before I go into why the Fed is doing that. I need to show this footage to set the stage for what's going on with the Fed and what you can do. The current state of politics is absolutely insane since 10 economists are Democrats as of 2020. Right now, Harris is supposed to benefit from this pointless rate cut that had nothing to do with business before the election. There is a good reason for lower rates, like reduced taxes, but 97 cents of every dollar that Fed employees donated to the election went to Democratic candidates or causes. Price increases throughout a discussion regarding commerce. President Trump is absolutely right that Jay Powell has plenty of options. He is happy to wait things out. The correct thing to do, in my opinion, would be for Jerome Powell to follow the lead of his Canadian and English counterparts and reduce interest rates to help prop up our economy as it weathers this storm. A time of profound transformation, Jay. Many people, myself included, think that it would be counterproductive